right. I think we are rolling. Thanks for joining us. We're currently watching the third draw of pool play, I believe. This would be fourth draw of pool play. And my name is Brian Lee from Princeton University. My colleague Nelson Rogers, also from Princeton, will be joining us in just a second here. We're very pleased to bring you live coverage of four very exciting games. On sheet one, we have Nebraska, Lincoln, against Yale. On sheet two, we have RPI against Michigan Tech. Sheet three, Toledo, MIT, and sheet four, Minnesota versus Penn State. This should be a very exciting game on all sheets, and we look forward to keeping you updated. Currently, first end is underway, approaching the bottom of the first end, I should say, and we will introduce just in a moment the players on all teams, 8 teams currently on the ice. So we'll begin with an introduction to the team from the University of Nebraska Lincoln. Their skip is Alex Hansen, who has coached baseball for 5 years. Third, Seamus Hurley, who has double-jointed thumbs, both of them. Second, Brett Johnson, who's never broken a bone. And lead, Emma Whaley. She doesn't know how to ride a bike. Their alternate is Charlie Major, who has dual citizenship for the United States and Honduras. And they're coached by Nancy Myers, who has flown a glider and is chair of the College Curling Committee. Also on sheet one, Team Yale skip Aaron Smith, who's once walked into the Luxembourgish Chamber of Deputies thinking it was a restroom and was promptly escorted out of the building. Third, Timothy Lee, who volunteered for lunch detention in middle school. Harry Gold. Harry has walked at least 10,000 steps every day without fail since December 2015. And lead, Bryce Sauvy. Bryce works on a Christmas tree farm. On sheet two, we have Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute against Michigan Tech, the battle between the Institutes of Technology. RPI skipped by Jacob Lorelli, who once bought a 3D printer with his tax return. CJ Tien is third. He competes in collegiate ultimate frisbee and is a connoisseur of fine breads. Lead, Cecilia Fenstermaker, has an ardent appreciation for the Postal Service, the United States Postal Service, that is, not the electronic music group. And alternate is Michael Anderson, who has befriended 2 other curlers and is certainly looking forward to befriend even more. The score has now been hung, appears on sheet 2 and 3. We will bring you those scores once they're confirmed by the referees. Introducing now the roster for Michigan Tech on sheet 2, Coach Gordon McLean, who founded the Copper Country Curling Club and namesake for the McLean Cup. Skip, Gracie Cohn, who founded Huskies Curl at Michigan Tech. Third, Reese Elza, who's on the football team. Bryce Doering, who's got into curling because of Jackson Armstrong. Tyler Magnuson, a first-year curler, is playing lead, and alternate is Noah Patterson. I believe you will have heard from him in terms of today's commentary. You want to introduce the players on sheets 3 or 4? Yeah, I'll go figure out the rocks and the scores.
Awesome. Well, a warm, I'd like to say hello to all of our viewers. My name is Nelson Rogers. I'm also from Princeton Curling, along here beside my colleague, Brian Lee. On sheet 3, we have Toledo versus MIT. It's going to be MIT playing the Yellow Rocks and Toledo playing the Red Rocks. First, we're going to take a look at MIT and who our players are. MIT coach is Evan Mullaney. Evan is the biggest Duncan fan you'll find out there. Skip is Declan Galo. Declan's sister was also a college curler. Third is Polly Harrington, who is on the rowing team at MIT. Second is Alex Ruigan. Alex is one of the few anthropologists on the MIT campus. Go Humanities. Lead is Alex Ketchkeen. Alex has tried to make his own curling stones with concrete. And then we have the alternate, Brian Wong. Brian has bruised his rib curling. Been there too, right alongside you, Brian. And the second alternate for MIT is Matthew Callister. And Matthew has hypnotized his friend for a high school project. I would really like to see how that worked out, because I'm a skeptic of hypnotism, but I'm with an open mind. Introducing now Toledo. You'll give me just 1 second. We have Skip Nolan Mattis. He is a level 1 curling instructor. And that's just, I'll take this one opportunity to say how important it is, instruction in college curling. Really influential is the sort of ability for the experienced curlers to pass on their knowledge to newer curlers. There are a lot of whom in college curling, so that's always really, really wonderful to see a really high level of instruction in our program. Third is Daniel Mahoney. He has 2 medal bars in his chest. Second is Claire Furst. She got 3rd place in a spelling bee. Lead is Hassan Rida, who speaks 3 languages. Would love to know what those languages are if anyone on the stream knows. And alternate Logan Urbani, who coaches high school hockey. And then we'll pan over to sheet 4, which is just in the corner of our view at the moment, where we have Minnesota taking on Penn State. And from Minnesota, we have Skip Tommy Lentz, who had a pet crayfish named Laddergall, and whose microphone we're using at this moment because he carries around a microphone in his backpack. So a huge thank you to Tommy Lentz and his contribution to this broadcast. Third, we have Oliver Lee, who plays clarinet in the University of Minnesota Marching Band, a formidable clarinetist. Second is Logan Aro. He just finished his first full Dungeons & Dragons campaign. Lead, we have Dustin Brooks, who is a 3rd-generation curler. We love to see curling dynasties. It just speaks to just the hominess of the sport, you know, bringing new people in, seeing tradition go on, while also kind of having that institutional knowledge is really wonderful. And alternate is Freya Webster, who has a horse named Jolene. And then finally, from sheet 4, Penn State, who is just a really great, a really great team here. Huge program at Penn State. Coach is Matthew Anderson, who held the world record for Woohoo Loop on Mario Kart 7 for Nintendo 3DS. Skip is Mallory Wickline. She enjoys playing off-brand Sims games and winning at Uno in the curling office. It has only happened once, ladies and gents. Third is Joseph Martirano. He loves Taco Bell breakfast, and he only sleeps 1 hour each night, just like this guy next to me here. Second is James Dumb. Quote, I love cat and cat girls, meow, end quote. Lead is Robert Chappelle III. Rob is a former freshman of the year at Penn State Curling Club. Alternate is Thaddeus Buchanan Valentine, fantastic name, who is an intercollegiate Pokemon champion. Alternate is Danielle Craven. Danielle is a Penn State tour guide and, as a result, very skilled at walking backwards.
Well, thanks very much for that generous introduction to all the players, Nelson. Let's run through these scores really quickly. We're about midway through the second end across all sheets. On sheet 1 with Nebraska and Yale, Nebraska red handles, Yale yellow. 5 points in favor of Nebraska. They've pulled it ahead with a really, really phenomenal first end here. On sheet 2, the score is 1-0 in favor of RPI, who have red handles, as is their school colors, and Michigan Tech yellow handles. On sheet 3, we have Toledo versus MIT. MIT has eked out over Toledo with 1 point from the first end. And finally, on sheet 4, an exciting game between Minnesota and Penn State, Minnesota having scored 2 in the first end. Well, it looks really, really tight on the second, third, and fourth sheets, but I'm sure this is something that very much recoverable for Yale as well. They do have some younger curlers amongst their midst, and the usual skip, Juan Recoaro, is currently, to my knowledge, in Spain. The 5 is actually being currently obscured by the American flag. But we will now momentarily be moving towards sheet-by-sheet coverage to bring you the latest on...
Pledge allegiance to the flag. Sorry, that was bad.
And to our 50 or so viewers at home, we're certainly very grateful that you've decided to join us on this Saturday afternoon. Folks, don't forget, we will be springing forward by 1 hour this evening. Thanks for joining us, and we look forward to hearing your thoughts as well in the comments.
We encourage everyone to contribute liberally to the comment section. If you have any suggestions or want to see a particular sheet, or if there's any parents out there watching kids, we're happy to cater to your needs. This broadcast really is for you, and we want to make sure that you know it is as such. So at this point, we'll jump over to, why don't we take, Brian, which sheet is calling your name right now?
I don't know, but I'm quite interested to see what RPI is looking at right now.
So why don't we jump over to the bottom, to the close end of, sheet 2, which is right here, ladies and gentlemen. Nope, that is the far end of sheet 2. Excuse us.
Well, we're coming out with a lovely slide from one of their players. Wow, that's square.
That's an very nice slide.
Wow. Okay, well, the situation here is developed such that it's not terribly crowded in the house. We have what appears to be 2 red rocks currently.
Hit coming in. Oh, maybe a double.
Oh.
Maybe a double.
It's a bit of a
no,
tall
definitely
ass.
5.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Very strong though.
Clean house thus far. Let's see if that is the same for the other sheets. Moving now over to sheet 1. That's the matchup between Nebraska and Yale. Again, a pretty clean house. It does look as though Red Rocks, that's Nebraska, are currently sitting 2, but not 3. But I think that might change after they make this here takeout.
And they'll have to be a bit careful with this because the yellow does have Red Rocks behind it, and so there are considerations here. But all in all, not too difficult of a shot for Nebraska. So the rock is on the way.
And here it comes, folks. Coming in, the sweepers are working on it furiously, and it wicks it. Oh, boy. But that's not bad. That's not awful. But it does leave the forefoot very, very clean, and I think that would make for a reasonable draw from Yale, at which they've shown pretty good proficiency with their draws this weekend.
Yeah, salient observation, Brian. At this point, let's pan over to some other sheets we have going on. On sheet 3, it looks to be an interesting matchup between Toledo and MIT. Pretty, I think, well-matched teams.
Yes, absolutely.
My intuition would suggest that this would be a really great game here.
And will it stop short? It will, and it will just touch a little bit.
Tap the back
to have them sit 2. And I must say with Toledo, Nolan Mattis's hits do not miss. And it looks like MIT really wants to get rid of that.
I think they're playing.
Or it looks they could be going for the draw. Actually, I take back what I said. It's deceived by the position.
I'm looking through the end. I believe this is first of Skip's rocks.
Yes, that's right. Declan Galo getting now into the hack.
Yeah.
Clear those guards. It looks as though it's coming in a touch fast, if you ask me, though.
Looks to be a hair heavy, maybe.
Yeah. I think they needed to switch. Well, they're gonna.
Here they go.
Maybe the key was to wicket. Oh, and that won't do.
That's still a really good shot, nonetheless. That gives them a strong position.
Absolutely.
Definitely tappable.
And they do have Toledo does have hammer, so I think if they can force it, that's not bad too for them at this point. I think it's still premature. So long as they're keeping away any big ends, I think that can keep morale up and indeed help them foreclose any sort of nasty shots that they'll need to make later on in the game.
Definitely. So we'll jump back over to sheet 2 just for a second to watch as Michigan Tech delivers what appears to be the first of Skip Stones.
And there is a full 4 Red Rock there that they're trying to get rid of. I think they can reasonably get over that if they can get around the guard. I think the performance this weekend has been very consistent, though, so I wouldn't be surprised if they were able to get it out.
Definitely one of the strongest teams in the field.
Absolutely. The question is whether or not they will line up the shot such that the shooter will stick around. Skip is getting in the hack, has a somewhat slower hack rhythm than most, would appear. Vice is patiently waiting. Cleaning the bottom of the stone. I think a lot more people should be doing that. Although the ice this weekend has been absolutely superb. Hats off to the ice crew as well as the ice technician that introduced here by USA Curling. And indeed, many thanks to Rice Lake Curling Club for allowing us the privilege of playing in their facility. We're certainly very grateful, and to all of the sponsors working with us this weekend. All right, well, let's have a look at that yellow rock coming in. Is it going to hit it? It will, but it will not get 2 of them out, and it looks as though red will still sit for now. CJ Tian and Jacob Lorelli appear to have made up their minds of what they want, and it looks like they're going in for the draw.
Definitely the right call here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially because
with that
they
backing.
don't have the hammer.
No.
And so, a stone top 4 here.
Will do just
top 8 would be a strong position.
Absolutely.
Do go ways. Well, Depends, I guess. Well, it depends.
It's a conservative shot, but I think it's very feasible that they'll be able to make.
Well, I was just going to comment on whether or not they're actually second right now, but I don't actually think that changes the call too much. You still want
No,
to
I
get
don't
behind.
think so.
Higher,
Higher is
top
good.
8 is not the worst here because
It's coming in.
you want to make sure that there's not a chase
Yeah.
that's super easy.
Well, we know it won't. It might actually jam on the guard.
Well, it looks like it's over curling for sure,
Yeah.
and they won't sneak it by.
Oh no.
Can they get it in? Can they
Can
spin
they get
it in?
it in? And can they make it count? Okay. Yeah. That will. That I don't. I'm not sure if that's sufficient. It's hard to. Yeah.
I really would have liked to see them stay on that a little bit more.
That's unfortunate. But it's an open draw for Michigan Tech right now. Skip's last rock here going into the bottom of the second end. Just have to really be essentially touching the 4. It's not a hard draw to make, but weight control will be very important for them. I might add that RPI was the regional championship in the Northeast. Well, while that's getting ready, I believe significant progress is also being made on sheet 1. We'll get back to that as soon as this is finished and we reach the bottom of the second end. Boy, the Michigan Tech really, Skip is really thinking this one through and actually might be going for a takeout and trying to roll in. Yeah, that actually might be more so what they're trying to do here. And it's, well, it's going to definitely line up nicely with the one on the back there, indeed. I think that will help them count. Ooh, and just a hair too. But it does appear as though that would be one yellow based on CJ's. That's my poor lip reading of Vice CJ Tien's words. We'll wait for the official confirmation from the referees before we'll update the scoreboard. But it could have been a lot worse, I think. Certainly at most 1 point for Michigan Tech. That would tie them up. Whoa, and now we turn over to sheet 1. It looks like the house is very uncomfortably red. Yale's currently thinking about their skips rocks, what that might entail. Looks like they're just going to go for the draw in. The good news is, for the time being, in order for them to sit, it looks as though they just need to have full 4. I don't think that's, again, like I said, I don't think that's a terribly difficult thing to want, but I think they might be trying to leverage that back red there. The one's closer on the full white over there past the tee line as backing, but we'll see. But this, of course, is a very uncomfortable position for Yale to be in at this early of a stage, and certainly Nebraska has proven themselves to be very adept with the leadership of Coach Nancy Myers, as well as their excellent performance throughout this weekend, indeed through the competitive season. And I regret that I'm not able to comment too well about their playing style and all that. The Midwest teams, as you know, don't have too much opportunity to meet with the Northeastern teams such as myself, and indeed that will come through the port and that will do its job for now. But that's an open takeout for Nebraska right now, and I'm actually quite concerned that that's just going to put them back to where they were a rock ago. And of course, with a team as good as Nebraska, hoping that your opponent misses will not prove to be a viable strategy. So we'll take a look at what's going on over there as we in a moment while we pan over to sheet 3 now. That's the matchup between Toledo and MIT, and as we anticipate will be a very, very exciting game. That will be now on the third end as their front end delivers their rocks. Currently, as the scores have appeared to us, the sheets 2 and 3 are both currently tied going into the third end. 1-1 on both sheets. I might add that on sheet 2 now, RPI will take the handle, as Hammer, apologize, and on sheet 3, Hammer will now go to MIT. Sheet 4, I believe they're still in progress. That's the matchup between Minnesota and Penn State. It looks like game end 2 is currently still underway with Skips Rocks now beginning. We'll return momentarily to sheet 4. And actually, let's take a look at what's going on in sheet 4.
Lots of action.
Wow, that's a lot of guards, that's for sure. And they're coming in nice and slow. I think they're trying to... Well, that's unfortunately fell a little bit, so that will be taken out of play. But while there are a number of stones...
Unclear what it is.
It looks like we have a technical timeout that's been called. That will be brought to the attention of the on-ice officials. We'll keep you posted as to what will be happening there. I'm not terribly sure what happened there, to be quite honest. I don't know if it was a pick or something else. But, well, at any rate, looks like they've agreed that the score will stand as is. So with that in mind, we'll update you with the score on that once it's been confirmed, and we move over once more to sheet 1, where the score is now blocked by the team members. All right, well, that's Drake Christensen delivering his rock, looking to dislodge that yellow that red out of the way, sitting currently on the top 12. And it will serve its purpose, and indeed that yellow will stay for now. And folks, I'd like to offer my apologies. I believe we may have I think we may have updated you incorrectly on the score on sheet 1. The score is actually 5-4 with no. Where's the one? I think the first end, I think Nebraska scored. Or no, Yale scored in the first end. Huh.
Yeah, you guys aren't seeing the real chat.
Oh, we apologize. We've been with some technical difficulties have prevented us from seeing some of the comments that are coming in. But we are now. Thank you for chiming in, Steve Arthur. Let's see what you'd like to see. Yeah, zoom out a bit, and you can show the button on 2 sheets at a time. Well, we can certainly do that. We'll zoom all the way out for you. There you go. That's as far as it will go, Steve. But I think that's a great suggestion. We'll be able to show you the action two sheets at once. Okay. Please excuse us for just a second while I go and make sure that the score that we put in on sheet 1 is correct. Mind you, this is just an unofficial score we're using to stream. The ice crew and officials from USA Curling are doing a diligent job keeping tabs on all games.
Oh. So let's take a look down now at the far end of sheet 2, and we'll go there in just a second. That is the close end. All right, so again, here we have the matchup between RPI and Michigan Tech. RPI coming in with a hit, perhaps doesn't come up as much as they're looking for, and it will roll to the wing, leaving Michigan Tech, who does not have hammer, lying 2 undercover. Michigan Tech will come in with the draw. Pretty standard call. Nothing much to say going on there. Lots of ice for Michigan Tech. You know, from our experience this morning, the ice was being a bit straighter, but things change, and happy to see that the ice is swingy. But that does look very, very wide. And so while the weight might be, you know, don't want to conjecture from here, but that was a lot of ice, and it will leave RPI with they'll take it back. They'll take it back. Michigan Tech without hammer, sitting 3, tied at 1. Looks like RPI not entirely sure what this broom is signaling. You know, I would say maybe it was a a hit on the back. I don't entirely know if I think that call makes a ton of sense in this case. If I were RPI, I would love to see them drawing in the other side, maybe. I don't think a freeze here because it's so in the open is a great shot. Also, clearing the guard, also not a bad call at this point, especially if you can run it back into the pile there. But, you know, they have an opportunity here. Gotta move some yellow. I want to make sure this red one will stick around. The RPI does have hammer here, so they'll be thinking about how they're going to get their deuce. They have that one on the side. Going to want to hopefully bring that into play, but will require some hitting. And that is the RPI skip Jacob Lorelli, who is calling for the sweep. Doesn't quite get there, and I would guess that they're, you know, second, third, and fourth shot. Not entirely sure what those are. Michigan Tech will be going for the guard here. They are again tied at 1. Michigan Tech is going to be thinking about how they can get a force. That's going to be a force, just for those of us who may not be entirely familiar with the curling lingo. A force is when the team with hammer only scores 1, and so if you don't have hammer, that's considered really advantageous, because then you get the hammer back, having only given your opponent 1. And that is again going to be pretty wide from Michigan Tech. The other option for Michigan Tech may have been also a hit on the red, roll in a little bit. That would have been a very strong shot. They will end just in front of the red, giving RPI options still. They're going to have to be creative here, because again, they're going to need to displace some yellow rocks in order to make the magic happen and get that 2 or get that 3. You know, try and get ahead in the game. And it looks like they'll be drawing to some effect.
From the commentators box, folks, an apology. We have not been perfectly correct with the score on sheet 1. The score is currently 5-4 between Nebraska and Yale. Yale leading with 5 points. Nebraska retaining hammer at the third end.
And an interesting stone delivered by RPI here. I think they were going for a draw in the house, maybe freezing on that back yellow rock. And in the end, actually, everyone, we're going to take a break here. We're going to introduce a special guest. This is Luke from Navy Curling. Navy is not playing this weekend, but Luke is a Wisconsinite and has come to watch out. Luke, how are you doing?
Doing good. How are you guys doing?
Happy to hear it.
Yeah.
What is Navy thinking this weekend as Navy watches kind of what's unfolding here?
I think it's been a really great weekend for curling so far.
Wonderful to hear.
It feels like the Midwest is kind of curb stomping a little bit, which
That's
is
true.
great to see as a Wisconsinite native.
Yeah,
But
it does. It does
as
make
an East Coast curler,
it makes for an interesting dynamic, because we do see a lot of very formidable Midwest teams. You know, a lot of times, because in the regional bonspiels, teams don't really have the opportunity to play teams from outside of their region. So the Midwest teams and the East Coast teams tend to stay very separate, and kind of the mix of them here. The East Coast teams, like, I'll be honest, like, they're getting rocked a little bit out there by a lot of the very strong Midwestern teams.
I mean, just look at them working on that rock. You don't look at that form. I mean, you can tell. Wow.
All right.
Great to see you.
Good to see you. Safe travels. Keep well.
Yeah.
All right, catch you around.
Catch
Nice to meet you.
Okay, well, that yellow rock, I think that just displaced their guard a little bit. I mean, they're more covered than they were earlier, that's for sure.
Definitely an advantageous position for Michigan Tech here. RPI has really been unable to capitalize on some of the opportunities, and the deuce is looking tough at the moment.
I mean, at present, I think yellow's probably sitting at least 2 right now, huh?
I don't know.
It's hard to tell from this angle. We'll keep an eye on what
I would,
happens.
you know, I'm gonna go. I think yellow's hitting 3 right now.
Oh boy. Well, you know, they got to sneak something in.
Absolutely.
But it's a tough shot to make.
Yeah.
And it's hard actually to tell whether or not the takeout on the yellow that's sort of hanging out in the back there by the forefoot is going to make it. Well, it looks as though that wasn't what they were going to be going for anyway. I think they might be just going for a
Draw through the port, but even that is very difficult.
And indeed, I think it's gonna crash onto that.
Looks like so.
Yeah. They can angle it in, but that just blocks it off. That's not really that's not going to do too much. Well,
No, it
no,
just
that
doesn't
won't.
have
That's,
the weight, unfortunately.
that's unfortunately not going to do it for him. I mean, at this point, I think the options for them to draw through that port, slim as they were before, are sort of virtually absent now. Michigan looks like they're going to start and try to slam another one in there. I think realistically, they probably just need to be full white plus maybe a foot to make it work. No, they don't have to be picky. I don't know. What would you do? I honestly might consider putting up a guard.
If I was Michigan Tech,
Yeah.
was that the first of Skip's rocks?
I don't know. I haven't been keeping. I haven't counted up. Let's see. So one.
I would
two,
wrap
three,
another
four,
one in
five,
there.
six, seven. Yeah.
I mean, you don't need to get you don't need to get greedy
No,
with it, but
no, but I think yeah, I think maybe get one in there, but settle for a guard.
sure.
It says like show it as you come in, which I should be doing. I just forget every time.
Wow, look at that. Now it looks like wow, that looks like Michigan Tech's now sitting 4. Certainly, that if that wasn't if that back rock wasn't counting now, they're going to be sitting 3 at the least.
The pressure is
On
on
for our
RPI.
boy. There's not. You can't come in from the. It's not really any possibility for an outturn shot here. But it looks like that's what they're doing. I think they might want to be raising one of their rocks. Boy, this is quite a situation to be in. I think Michigan Tech is quite pleased with themselves, though, from what it looks.
As they should be. This is a great setup for them.
Oh yeah, you betcha. Okay, yeah.
Oh, and that
I'm
may
not-
be disastrous.
Well, they're gonna get it out, but that doesn't really. I don't think that changes
least
things.
2,
At
maybe
least
4.
4, up to 4. Looks as though there's not a terrible amount of disagreement there. We'll wait for the placard to be put up, and then we'll update the score for you. Let's have a look at some of the other sheets, shall we?
Let's do it, and we're gonna take you updating the scores all the while.
And that's wow. It looks, if last end the houses were sparse, they're certainly getting quite packed now. Currently 3 red rocks from UNL. It looks like currently in the house. They are sitting 3, and I believe we are on Skip's rocks. It looks as though
I believe so.
the UNL back end, and I believe perhaps a second of theirs having a conference over out there in the back on the boards. Coming in, I think, just for a nice and easy draw, really. I'm not sure how occluded the 4-foot is right now, but I think it's doable. Very insistent skip. Wow. Yelling's not going to make the rock move any further, but
But they can try, bro.
they can try, and certainly the skip has joined in on a furious effort to get the rock in, and it needs to go. It needs to go.
I will not.
And
make
it just falls right short, and I think that's 3 reds on sheet 1. That will bring the score up 7-5 in favor of Nebraska. Going into the 4th end, Yale will carry hammer.
As we go to sheet 2.
Okay, yeah, so it was that profitable, unfortunate nightmare that we were fearing. RPI currently is down 4, Michigan having taken 4 points. Now they're leading 5-1 going into the 4th end. RPI will have hammer.
Moving over to sheet 3.
Again, we have the 4th end in motion. Doesn't look like it was a very particularly productive end for either team. Toledo leading MIT 3-1. with MIT retaining hammer going into the.
Toledo leading MIT 2-1.
I apologize, 2-1 going into the fourth end.
MIT with hammer.
Yes, and on sheet 4, it looks as though the third end is still in progress. Let's get a look at what's going on in the house there. Tommy Lentz, that whole drink of water, I'll tell you what. But beautiful slide does he have. Coming in and looking for Penn to... Yeah, they're sitting 2 right now. Let's see if this rock's going to really make a difference.
There is, I think, a double available.
There's a double available,
for the 2.
but the Brim, I don't think, really seemed like they were going for that, were they?
I don't think so.
I think they might have been trying to go for a heavy draw or something, but either way, I don't think this is really what they need.
Not gonna have the weight to move
No.
too much.
No, and unfortunately, well, we'll wait for Polly Harrington to get out of the way, but still, that doesn't change the situation at all, although the button is now opened up. But I don't know how easy it is going to be to draw across there. The Minnesota back end is currently conferring with one another, with each other. Currently, they are sitting 2. But I don't believe. No, they have the advantage of hammer going into this end, it would seem.
Yellow.
Yeah, let's see. I have to say, this camera has really good resolution.
Yeah.
And to all the viewers at home, thanks for joining us this afternoon. We're certainly very glad that you've taken time out of your day to join the festivities. To all 63 viewers we have currently, thank you very much for being with us. Feel free to comment your thoughts and requests in the chat. We'll be putting in some polls to keep you all entertained, and we're very glad that you're here with us. My name is Brian Lee. I'm currently a senior at Princeton University. I'm joined by my colleague Nelson Rogers. And very nice to be with you all today. As Minnesota comes in with a rock, it looks like it was a
Draw comes up light.
but it didn't have enough weight to really make the raise work. But I think Minnesota should be quite pleased having gotten 2. Right now, they've gotten their deuce. Could they've gotten more? Sure, but this will do just fine. And now, Penn State should really start to feel the heat now. They are down 3.
Yeah.
Let's go over to sheet 3 now.
Yeah, we've got that. All right, well, we've got and here we have the matchup between Toledo and MIT. Currently, it is MIT down 1 with hammer. We'll take you back, kind of zoomed out a bit, take a look at what's going on the ice. It looks like Michigan Tech is building up another strong position against RPI
tell
on
me
sheet
about it.
2.
Wow. All right. Well, that's I don't know. I dare say that might be covering the pin.
Oh.
We'll be updating the scores in curling on curlingzone.com as well. But I'm just going to pan up a little bit and show you what's going on each of these. Currently, the score 7-5 in favor of Nebraska Red Handles on sheet 1. The score on sheet 2 between RPI and Michigan Tech is 5-1 in favor of Michigan Tech Yellow Handles. Sheet 3, Toledo versus MIT matchup. Toledo leads by 1 point, 3-2-1. And on sheet 4, Minnesota leads Penn State 4-1. Looks like we're still going through the front end on most of these sheets here. We'll take a look at the leftmost sheets now with a view towards sheets 1 and 2. Thank you again to Steve Arthur for his suggestion. We'll be showing you 2 sheets at a time when we're looking at the near end here. And RPI looking to dislodge a yellow rock, but it's got a curl, and it will not make it, unfortunately. Just move right on past. Sheet 1 looks as though, well, from here it looks like UNL sitting 1, but I think the objective here is now for them to sink a couple more in there, especially because they got that nice guard sitting right there. Out they go. Oh, it's actually a takeout, it looks like they called for. Get it. Oh, nice, and it will miss theirs. I might add that there's actually a biter sitting sort of halfway in the back there, halfway on the 12 foot. I don't think that's going to make a difference in the end, but you never know. I've certainly seen a couple of ends here where it seems that both teams are playing Ring Around the Rosie. Yellow Rock, another one coming in from Michigan Tech on Heat 2, joining 3 that are already in there. But will it bite? It will bite. It will bite. That will do. And by now, you know, it's sort of, they've really occluded a lot here, I think, RPI, and RPI is really sort of struggling to see how they might make it in. I don't think any of these ports are particularly good to be negotiating with here. And Yale on sheet 1 having dislodged that UNL rock that just came in. Now they are currently sitting 2. They're going to get rid of that, though. But hopefully they'll be able to stick around. Well, it looks as though they might actually be wanting to peel a guard on sheet 2 with RPI given that brim handle. And I might add, if we have any East Coasters watching from home, the Schenectady Curling Club uses the Midwest Handle Convention, which is opposite to us folks from the East Coast. I can hear some of the shouting that's coming from the windowless commentator's box in the locker room. That's how far away we are. Loud pipes on Jacob Lorelli. And that will help somewhat. It will dislodge 1 rock. It's taken that out, but they're still sitting 2, and the ports are not necessarily wider than they were earlier. Looks like a hit and roll is being called from Michigan Tech right now. Roll in and under cover.
Hardest shot in curling, Brian.
Yeah, well, God knows I don't make them. Oh, yes. Well, we hear from Ainsley Patterson, Noah Patterson's sister. Well, certainly Noah Patterson, they call him, you know, they don't call him the voice of Huskies curling for nothing. I think he'll be joining for the next draw at 3:30 p.m. But I think he should be very proud of his teammates in the meantime, because they've really, wow, they've been knocking out of the park. And UNL having taken out 1 and now 2 of Yale's rocks.
And to take you through some results from this morning, on sheet 1, Princeton defeated Harvard 13-3 in 7. On sheet 2, we had with the matchup between the University of Wisconsin Stevens Point and RIT, the University of Wisconsin at Stevens Point winning 8-3. On sheet 3, between the matchup in the matchup of Arizona State versus Bowdoin, I believe yes, it is Bowdoin who won with a score of 8-4. And on sheet 4, it was the University of Wisconsin-Madison going 9-0 against Syracuse.
Well, we currently have, we'll take your view now to sheets 2 and 3. Oh, and that was a missed takeout from RPI, but they were working with a very narrow port, so no hard feelings there. But I think the name of the game now is to just make sure that that Red Rock's gotten rid of. I would personally put up a guard.
Yeah, they've got to be. RPI's got to be a little careful here. Michigan Tech is a phenomenal hitting team.
Yeah,
and the stone is out in the open. So the hit is a bit of a no-brainer, especially because they're up by quite a bit at the moment.
Well, we'll turn our attention now to sheet 3. We're sort of catching a bit of the action, not yet on Skip's Rocks on sheet 3, but currently the situation is that Red Rocks Toledo is sitting 1 over MIT. Nolan Mattis, I believe, is now going to throw what appears to be the first of 2 Skip's Rocks. And I think the object here is to yeah, that would be sensible. I think they're going to go for the not sure if the hit is the best idea right now, but I think they're trying to do the draw, which is sensible. Penn State, wow, James Dunn is really shouting at that rock. He must be mad at it for something. Wow, must owe him money. But unfortunately, that will not curl. That will not travel far enough. It's currently still. It's hard to tell who's sitting actually on sheet 3, on sheet 4. Well, Red Rock is coming in from Toledo on sheet 3 in the meantime. Good draw weight. Good draw weight. Needs it to sit. Needs to get it over the hog. Yeah, West might join that friend of its. It'll sit on the center line. That's fine, but I don't think that was the intention here.
Yeah, they would have wanted to get that a bit more over or a bit farther. The consequence now, well, it looks like MIT is electing to hit. But
I think they're trying to do the run back double.
a strong shot would also be just to draw.
Yeah,
likely.
I think. Well, they have more than enough room to get it through the port. I mean, and the button's wide open. They just need to get half forward in order for this to count. But if that's what they want to do, that's their prerogative, and I'd be very excited to see how this shot turns out. Certainly, if they make it, I think they deserve the point. Quite a bit of commotion in the warm room, perhaps on the left sheets. We will bring you to that momentarily.
Definitely a boisterous viewership.
Oh,
here in
absolutely.
Cuba.
Well, we were at lunch
Precisely.
earlier, and it turns out that this is sort of the talk of the town. We're very excited to see a community so passionate and enthused about college curling. And I'll get one, but not both. But exposes it now, and I bet Noel Mattis, if he knew he's being conservative, he would not put up a guard. Sheet 3, sheet 4, the situation has not changed dramatically. They're coming in. I think that will actually do. I think that might do the trick.
Oh, they're going to want to go. They're going to want to really push that, get that behind a bit.
Okay. Well, I think it's likely that it's shot. I think it's likely to be shot, but I don't know if. Well, that's just going to be a pretty easy takeout for Minnesota, and I know that the Midwest teams have really shown their forte on takeouts this weekend.
Yes, and it's going to be especially tricky because we have on sheet 4 a number of these rocks around the edge, and what that does, it leaves a lot of free real estate for teams to take advantage of in the center. And so if you're team with hammer, you're loving that. But if you're not, which is the case with Minnesota, they're going to want to close that down, draw
Absolutely.
something in, kind of decrease sort of the margin for error.
Well, if we look here on sheet 2, it looks like there was just a simple draw that's come in. I'm not sure what that rock ended. Okay, that rock ended up sort of halfway over the 8-foot.
Yeah, great rock, leaving a piece of the shot rock behind it.
Yeah.
Covering a piece of it too. It's gonna, I believe we're gonna see RPI. This looks like maybe a backline weight hit
I
based on
think
where
so,
the brim
yeah.
is.
I mean, I think it's sensible they have backing, but if they're too heavy and they're wide, that's gonna unfortunately be a wasted stone at a time where they really can't be affording to make those kinds of mistakes. Yale Rock is coming in now on sheet 1. That's yellow handles for them. Looks as though we don't really have anything within the 8-foot, but I think Nebraska is probably sitting 2 right now from what it looks like from this angle. And it's coming in, but it looks to be a hair wide. I don't think it's going to really hit that red. Well,
there it
I take
goes.
it back there.
Really digs
okay,
in
well, that will
nice.
do. That will do. For now, at least. And RPI
then
makes the shot.
A night, you know what? That's a
It's not a
solid result for RPI.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be. And that is for the
point. That was
for the
1 point. That was 1 point for RPI. So it was a force by Michigan
That
Tech.
was a necessary shot.
Yes, but I'm glad for them that they've made it. They certainly are an East Coast powerhouse, and I think, I think any team playing them should feel pressure. Looks like the situation is also concluded on sheet 1. That would be 1 point, looks like, for Yale.
And we are entering the 4th end breaks here for most of the sheets.
With the exception of sheets 3.
Wait, I
well,
need to just.
looks like we're on 4th end breaks on sheets 3 now.
And it will be a single for Yale in their game against Nebraska on sheet 1.
The score is 7-6 now. I think we sort of perhaps have broken the spell of really profitable, big, high-scoring.
And we'll go back over to sheet 4 now, where the action is remaining.
Tied up on sheet 3.
Yes, and that was 1 point for MIT. Sheet 3 now tied at 2.
We have a rock incoming from Tommy Lentz, it looks like. Is that Tommy Lentz? Yes, it is. Minnesota skip, broom held by Oliver Lee. Minnesota I might add, is currently red rocks over PSU yellow rocks. It looks like might actually be PSU edging them out by 1 right now. But it looks like they're going for a raise here, which I think is a pretty sensible thing to do. And it's coming in.
It looks to be a draw. Looks to be a draw.
Looks to be a draw through the port, huh?
And they have lots of real estate.
They have it. It's
deal
gonna.
with.
They'll do it. They'll do it. They'll do it. Just needs to get about a foot
and-
more. It just stopped short.
Not clear if they
I don't
did it.
think. Not sure if that's enough at all. I'm not sure if that's enough.
There is one more shot coming from Penn State.
Or actually, I think that was just the skip's first rock. It looks like there's another red handle back there.
Oh yeah. 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 So we will have one more shot from Penn State, one more rock from Minnesota, and the hammer from Penn State.
Now the.
And Penn State is going to want to score a multiple here.
Oh yeah. Well, they're
to
how much
really
they
stay
trailing?
competitive.
Wow, that's a.
They're down by 3. A deuce will keep them in it definitely.
Yes, absolutely,
Scoring necessary.
absolutely, and scoring. Well, if you're going to score 1, you might as well score 2.
Sublime logic, Brian.
Well, it looks like the back end is.
Debating what course of action to take. Definitely worth it. I'm trying to think here. I think I actually don't hate the crotch double. I don't know if you stay in the rings.
I don't know either. I don't. Do you think there's a? I mean, the distance between the two for the crotch double is a little bit wider than I would probably want.
Sure,
it
but
to be.
what I think it does is I think it opens up access to that back red.
That's
And
true.
if you want any more than 2,
Yeah.
you'll need to get that one out.
See, the question right now, it's sort of, and this is not really a question that it's only a question for us here watching from home, is I don't know which of the red rocks is bothering them the most. It's hard to tell from here.
Yeah, I'm going to conjecture that yellow is shot and
Yes.
red is 2 and 3.
Yeah. They're coming in. I think if they were going for the crotch double, the ice might have been a little bit excessive there. But maybe they're just trying to go for the 1 there. And it's coming in, but I don't know if that's going to have enough force. It actually might compromise their situation.
Well, I think it'll stop short. It'll stop short.
Yeah. But that doesn't really, I think, improve their posturing at all. Certainly, it could have been worse. I mean, they could have moved one of the reds in, but glad they've spared themselves that difficulty.
Yes, and this will leave Minnesota with a pretty solid opportunity.
Yes, absolutely.
Not an easy shot at all.
not at all.
They are looking probably to raise, raise a red, whether it's the one closest to us or the one farthest from us. I don't know.
Well, as far as raises are concerned, I mean, if you were Minnesota or Penn State, I think they got to raise it probably a good 4 feet in order for it to count. Minnesota doesn't raise it. Penn State doesn't have to raise their red rock, the yellow rock, the one that's sort of sitting just forward of the house right now by too much, but the angle's a little bit weird there. And Tommy Lentz is coming in with quite a bit of weight. Looks like they are going for that raise after all. Oh. From the angle, it looks like actually it's going to move that yellow. And, oh, you better get it out. Yeah. And I'm afraid that will not be sufficient for that. But the situation currently is definitely we have a yellow shot rock. That's for sure. But this last rock's really got to make it count. I mean, he just needs to get touching the 8 in order for this to get a deuce. This is just an LSD moment. I don't think this is a terribly difficult draw to make. Cheat 3 looks like they've resumed from the game, so we'll go back to them momentarily, but I kind of want to see where this ends. Okay, and they're coming out. It looks, the weight looks a little bit up from what I would personally want. Might actually crash onto that yellow, which could lead to some interesting results. And it is way too wide. Even hit the board there from what it looks like. And unfortunately, I think Penn State will be able to take 1, but they're going to have to settle for what they have right now.
And as we enter the fourth end break across the board here, we're going to step away for just a little bit. But in the meantime, we're going to send out a poll to the chat. And the question at bar is which games we feature. We'll still, of course, pay attention, pan around to all of them. But if our viewership is entirely wanting to view like 1 or 2 games, we're more than happy to take focus on those to make sure that everyone is enjoying the stream as much as possible. So the poll is
Active now.
And we encourage you to respond at your leisure while we take a bit of a break.
We'll have
Help us help you get the best out of this.
Yes,
get the most out of
absolutely.
this stream.
Mr. Banyi, you know that name sounds awfully familiar. I wonder if you were watching the stream over at the Happy Valley Bonspiel earlier in, I think it was in April or May. That name sounds awfully familiar, but if it is you, we're very glad to have you back. That was my first commentating gig. All right. Yeah, we seem to have a lot of interest in the game between RPI and Michigan Tech. Yeah, it's a good mix. I think these are pretty exciting games going on. We'll be updating the scores on Curling Zone in the meantime. And we are back, folks. We've updated the scores now, both on Curling Zone and also the lower third graphics on screen right now.
For those of you just joining us, my name is Nelson Rogers. I'm joined here with my colleague Brian Lee. We are from Princeton Curling, and we are honored to have you with us today, sharing draw. Oh, geez, what is it now, Brian? Draw 4?
This is draw 4, yeah.
Draw 4 from the USA College Curling National Championships out of Rice Lake, Wisconsin.
Programmer Man 1 certainly will be able to update the Curling Zone draws for some of the early ones. I do understand that they might be out of date. Currently for this draw, they will be updated in real time.
we're learning just in that there is a technical issue with Curling Zone. It's been a little bit finicky all weekend, and so if there are results you're looking for, drop it in the chat, and whether it's a pool of results or we're happy to get that information for you at our earliest convenience. So if there's a specific game you want, we can get that for you in detail, or the results of a pool, whatever is good. We're happy to be of service.
And we certainly send greetings to the 74 viewers joining us right now. Thank you very much for spending your afternoon with us. Don't forget the clocks will be changing this evening 1 hour forward. Ariana Van Dyke, go Michigan Tech indeed. They're putting up a wonderful, wonderful fight. Robert Martin, go Logan indeed. Steve Arthur, and thank you very much for good curling to you out there in Midland, Michigan. I was up there in October in Michigan to see Mackinac Island, and boy, was that beautiful that time of year.
I like that. Results in from our poll. We have in fourth place with 8% of votes, Toledo MIT. In third place with 21% of votes, Nebraska Yale. With 25% of votes, the game between Minnesota and Penn State, and winning with 46% of the votes, RPI Michigan Tech. So we will definitely make sure that all of our sheets get coverage, and for all of our viewers, especially those watching the Michigan Tech RPI game, we'll make sure that you are enjoying this stream to the best of our ability.
We will just run through the scores now for these teams that have been joining us. On sheet 1, we have University of Nebraska Lincoln red handles versus Yale yellow handles. The score currently at the bottom, going into the fifth end, is 7-6 in favor of Nebraska. Nebraska will have hammer. On sheet 2, the game du jour, RPI versus Michigan Tech. RPI red handles as per school colors, and Michigan yellow handles for school color. A very intuitive color arrangement over there. The score is 5-2. Going into N5, we're just about halfway through N5, it would look like, and I believe it is Michigan Tech with the hammer. On sheet 3, yellow rocks and red rocks are actually mixed. The school colors are mixed up, actually. Toledo is red handles, MIT yellow, and the score is 3-1, with MIT having hammer in the fifth end. And last but not least, on sheet 4, an exciting matchup between Minnesota and Penn State. Minnesota leading Penn State 4-2 after Penn scored after a successful force in the last end. And in the fifth end, we currently have Minnesota with hammer. We are live on the scene from the Rice Lake Curling Club in Rice Lake, Wisconsin. This is the 2024 USA Curling College National Championship, where 16 teams that will be taking to the ice this weekend. Join us all weekend for more. We'll be having another draw at 3:30 this afternoon, and additionally another draw. That's the quarterfinal at 8 p.m. tonight. Well, we'll turn our attention now to the happenings on sheet 2. Michigan Tech coming down with a rock, working at it furiously to join what appears to be 2 that are just sitting, 3 that are currently shot. And that's a pileup. I'm not sure if that's in or not, but it certainly guards it. And 3 is something that, well, we mustn't be picky and greedy. RPI seems to be very much a bit of an uncomfortable position. They need to draw to the button now, it looks like, and that's exactly what Jacob Lorelli is about to do. Oh, absolutely, Steve. I mean, these are close games, and these are, you know, this is a very exciting group of people. All teams on the ice really are formidable, but each with their respective strengths or weaknesses. We'll see if they can play to their strengths and if their opponents will be able to exploit their weaknesses.
And because of the technical difficulties, we're currently having a little trouble getting the results of pools, for example, but we're calculating that out right now as we speak on the computer right next to us. So in about 2 minutes, I'll have all that information for you on these pools that are playing now.
Fantastic.
That'll be the stakes, who's in, who's out. We'll give you the full analysis.
Unfortunately, I don't think we have LSD results immediately available to us, but oh, Oh boy. Yeah, that's well, well, RPI just gave him 4 shot rocks, it looks like. Looks a little bit frustrated. Over on sheet 1 with Nebraska and Yale, Nebraska red handles Yale. Yale looks like Nebraska is currently sitting 2, but the button is still very much open. And I think they're going to try to do a draw or maybe a guard on those, although they've sort of stuck to each other, so maybe just a draw will do in this case. Mike Shooter, the umpire, seated over there between sheets 1 and 2, watching the events unfolding on the ice with great interest.
He looks like, like the Bernie Sanders sitting.
The chief of the umping staff here, I think it's Art Platchik, who's the chief umpire. We'll see him if we'll point him out to you if we see him on the ice. But Mike Shooter, I believe, was the chief umpire last year. I want to say, and Art Platchik, they had their roles reversed this year. It's Sam Fuchs from the college curling committee, or who was with the college, is joining us here, and he sort of has proven himself to be an AV whiz. We send our congratulations to Sam, who just graduated earlier in the winter with a bachelor's degree in cybersecurity.
Yes, sir.
From the Pennsylvania State University. And we're very glad that he is
The Pennsylvania State University.
the Pennsylvania State University. We're certainly very glad that he has been able to overlap with us and share his grace with us. And I do believe that Jill Fuchs is watching from home.
I'm
He says hello to Mom.
A quick update. Well, not a quick update. Let's take a few minutes, Brian, just to explain to everyone how these pools are stacking up. So on sheets 1 and 2, we have, I believe it's Pool A, which is composed of the University of Nebraska, Lincoln, Yale, RPI, and Michigan Tech. Sitting at the top, we have Michigan Tech 2-0, RPI, and the University of Nebraska Lincoln at 1-1, and Yale is 0-2. And on the in Pool B, on sheets 3 and 4, we have MIT, University of Minnesota, Toledo, PSU. Top of that, we have MIT 2-0, the University of Minnesota and Toledo are tied at 1-1, and we have Penn State at 0-2. So as we go around here, we have the University of Nebraska Lincoln on sheet 1 playing Yale, who is 0-2. As a result, this is a win here will put the University of Nebraska Lincoln into the playoffs, assuming that MIT also wins. The challenging thing, RPI, excuse
Yes,
me. The challenging thing here, though, everyone, is because the pools are only 4 teams. There are many situations in which it will come down to LSD because there's just not enough games to solidly differentiate everyone, and so. It's a little used to kind of pontificate about all the possible outcomes. But as we're looking at these games here, it is Michigan Tech, and Michigan Tech will certainly be a player, especially as they kind of have a strong lead over RPI at this point in the game. They are looking pretty well situated to head into the playoffs. The second spot, slightly more contested. The main contenders, of course, are going to be RPI, who would need a win over Michigan Tech, who is sitting a bundle in the house right now.
Yeah.
Really strong showing. And
boy, that's 5 now, I think. That's 5 shot rocks on Michigan Tech on sheet 2. RPI is looking very, very frustrated. I think that's probably looks like 5 to me. We'll wait for them to confirm, but they're really feeling the heat. And next point for Michigan will be a lap for them.
Yes, Programmer Man 1 has just commented. Everyone loves a 3-way unbreakable tie, and it looks like that possibility does exist here.
Yeah.
Especially it is a possibility that we could have Michigan Tech at 3-0 and the other 3 teams at 1-2. Wait, is that possible?
I don't know.
No, that's not possible. Forgive me, everyone. I can't do math at the moment. I'm a lowly English major. Yeah, the 3-way. I mean, it's looking less likely. So if we say, Brian, that Michigan Tech goes 3-0, that will mean that RPI is at 1-2, which means that it is possible.
Anything is possible.
Yes,
Rice.
it's Yale. If Michigan Tech and Yale win, it will be Michigan Tech at 3-0 and everyone else at 1-2. In which case, it will come down to LSD or the.
For the bottom half of the championship bracket.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so that's enough with Pool A. On to Pool B, composed again of MIT at 2-0, University of Minnesota and Toledo at 1-1, excuse me, and Penn State at 0-2. As a result, it's a must-win for Penn State, and they are also needing a. They are also needing other results in order to keep them in contention. As we zoom out and take a look over at sheet 3.
Yeah, a lot of updates for you folks. We'll run through them one by one. On sheet 1, that's the matchup between Yale and Nebraska. We actually have a 10-6. That was a 6-ender from 10-6. Yeah, 10-6.
Who scored?
By Nebraska.
Nebraska scored 6.
Yep. So that will be now Yale going into N6 with Hammer.
Wait, but they're at 10. Oh yeah,
At 10. Yeah. So that'll be another lap for them, but another 6-ender. We'll get to that in just a minute. On sheet 2, we have the matchup between RPI versus Michigan Tech, and we have a lap from Michigan Tech. The score is now 11-2. 11-2 going into the 6th, and RPI will have Hammer, and Hammer is good to have, but not to keep. We'll see if they can pull back in the remaining 4 ends. They got to catch up by 9 points just to tie in these next few ends. That's a tall order. On sheet 3, that's, I think, thus far has been the closest game. That's between MIT versus Toledo. That's 4-3 in favor of MIT. Going into the 6th end, it is Toledo red handles with the Hammer. And last but not least, sheet 4, we have Minnesota versus Penn State. The score as it currently stands. Oh, we'll wait for Tommy Lentz to move out of the way.
I do believe it is under the 8. He is very. Oh, wow.
Oh, where did that 5?
Perhaps the score has not been.
Or actually, they might not be. No, well, that's odd.
No, the 5 is still hanging on the wall.
The 5 was it?
They're still playing the 5th. They're still playing the 5th.
They're still playing the 5th. So that's we'll get back to that. They were sort of the slower of the 4 sheets.
Yes.
But anyway, at any rate, I think because of a very strong audience demand, we'll focus on sheet 2, and thanks to Steve Arthur's suggestion, we'll be able to show you both sheet 1 and sheet 2.
Now, just to take another look at the Pool B, which is playing on sheet 3 and 4, but that's going to be MIT 2-0, the University of Minnesota and Toledo tied at 1-1, and Penn State at 0-2 right now. It is a must-win for Penn State, who will also be needing some other results. We have in their matchup, they're down 2 without Hammer. Not an impossible situation, Brian. That's for sure. Other results in that pool, the pool is staying close. If Toledo is able to beat MIT, then we're in for a 3-way tie, probably.
Absolutely.
I would conjecture to say. But interesting results coming our way, no matter what, from these pools.
And we had a double takeout from, I believe it was Michigan Tech on sheet 2. That got rid of RPI Stone, but also one in the back that belonged to Michigan Tech. What's RPI going to do? Well, they have Hammer, but they can't fall into the trap of the hit game.
This is a pattern we've been seeing from RPI in a couple of these draws. Is they're strong, but they don't quite have the material to hide behind when they kind of fall behind a little bit, and they'll be wanting to capitalize on that free guard zone. I think we're midway through the end here. Don't know if they'll have a ton of opportunities still to do so, but definitely gonna want to for them make sure that
And they're working on it
they
frantically.
hide some stuff.
And they're working on it frantically. And this is the thing, I think, with RPI is that they don't necessarily adjust their strategy as much when they are behind, and unfortunately that will miss it by just a little bit. I don't think they just genuinely don't have the luxury of playing the hit game right now.
No, absolutely not. They need to be hiding behind stuff.
Absolutely.
And so in this game on sheet 3, we have Toledo playing MIT.
And MIT is coming in with a 3rd rock to join the ones in the house, but let's hope we'll be able to take out the BAM.
Spill one of their own as well with the red. That'll do the job.
But that will still be 3 for them that are sitting in the house as of right now. That's not entirely out of play. I don't think that yellow rock's going to do very much, though. That one that's hanging around the side.
Absolutely, Brian. Absolutely.
Okay, but that looks to be a takeout, which is what Nolan Mattis is requesting right now. Absolutely, Laura Fisk. We'll give you some love for sheets 2, 3, and 4 right now as we speak, and we'll zoom out so we can see all of.
Look, we can zoom into the far end of sheet.
Yeah, let's see what's going on over there, shall we? It's view 8. We have to give credit to OBS, the streaming platform, for helping us out by helping us out with the
Oh yeah.
with the technology here.
And as always, it is very important in these kinds of situations to thank our sponsors, who we are searching for as we speak. They're probably on a loose leaf of paper somewhere around here.
Okay, well in the meantime, let's take
Off the top, well, Brian, just real quick, off the top of my head, I'd like to thank State Farm and the agency of
Ashley R. Headley.
Ashley
Ashley R. Headley, yes. And Toboggan Run Dental, the office of Charles Chrysler and Rachel Engel.
Yes.
Forever Exteriors. Dairy State Bank.
CCF Bank.
We make it easy for you.
Yes, they do make it easy for us. Oh, we have our sponsors coming out as we speak.
Well, Gary, we'd certainly be glad to do the quarterfinals. We'll be playing in one of them.
That's the hope, at least.
We're having a great time with you folks, and I hope you are enjoying the wonderful sportsmanship that's happening on ice. I mean, this is a...
And now that we have, we would like to extend a warm, hot off the press, a warm, generous thank you to Forever Exteriors, Edward Jones Investments, CCF Bank, making more possible, Toboggan Run Dental, Thrivent Financial, Real Estate Solutions, because they make it easy for us.
Right.
Dairy State Bank, LaPointe Tire and Automotive, State Farm, and the agency of Ashley R. Headley, agent, Cadillac Construction, and Rice Lake Weighing Systems. A huge thank you to all of our sponsors for making events like these possible.
Oh, absolutely. All right, well, let's look at Minnesota right now. They're currently, looks to be sitting 2.
Interesting house.
Isn't it that? Yeah, you betcha. I mean, are they trying to take out that... Well, I'm not sure what they're... Oh, okay, well, the weight seems to be coming such that it might actually be going for the raise. Through the running the yellow into the red to give it a raise. Or are they just going to go to the yellow? Well, that's,
oh, wow.
I don't think that changed very much. I think they spilled one each, but...
If that was hammer, that was a great shot because Minnesota is sitting for
three.
I think 4. I think 4.
Oh, wow.
Well, and so impressive. Minnesota will take a 8-2 lead over Penn State.
Very impressive. Well, let's take a look at sheet 3 now. We'll go back to sheet 3. That's the matchup between Toledo and MIT. That was quite a lot going on there, but let's see what has changed since we last checked in on them. And wow, that's that house got a lot of yellow in it. Looks like yellow's spitting 3 right now. It's MIT.
Oh, it appears there may have been some technical...
Oh. It looks to have been resolved. It looks to resolve to the both teams' Skips' satisfaction. Okay, well, at any rate, it looks like they're just going to go for that double take out there. Bang one into the other. Shooter will stay around. Okay.
We're on sheet 6. We're on sheet 6.
Yes, we are now happy to report that we are all on sheet N6 across all sheets. License lock, I can see from the corner of my eye coming out on sheet 2. We'll check in on sheets 2 and 1 momentarily. I want to see how this takeout turns out with Noel Mattis throwing what appears to be... I suspect that might be the last of his rocks, actually. Oh, no, I apologize. He has one more left.
Sheet 1. How many?
And it's coming in. Nolas Mattis doesn't miss with his hits, that's for sure. And it's coming in. It's over curling just a little bit, but... and that shooter's just not going to stick around. So they're just sitting Still sitting 2.
Wait,
Still
How
sitting
many
2.
Michigan Tech score? How many did Michigan Tech score?
What? Okay, we are returning now to sheets 1 and 2. A very empty house on sheet 2, but not so much the case on sheet 1. Either situation is not ideal, I think, for the team that's down to currently.
Go
I
back.
don't have.
Nebraska is sitting 4. Yale looks to be a biter, but it's certainly not going to count. And on sheet 2 with Michigan Tech, just one sitting right there in the 4th.
We're listening to you on the way over.
Thank you.
I think you guys need to get a job at Big Plus.
Yeah.
I mean, their announcers are, guys are amazing.
Thank you.
We get it.
Thank you. All right. Well, Michigan Tech is rolling in with another one to join them there. Just scratching the button there, but RPI's got to take him out. They got to get rid of him. You know, this is a good opportunity for, I think, just sort of a soft weight hit. They need it to stick around, and ideally they get both of them. But this is a very hairy situation on both sheets 1 and 2.
And sheet 3.
Yeah, that's true too. Oh, looks to be a moment of dissension between the RPI back end. Unless somebody forgot what order they're throwing in. We had the pleasure of actually being hosted at RPI at their dorms during the annual RPI Schenectady curling event, and a very generous team they are, and fine people all around, really. Thank you very much, WC Hurl. Okay, and it's coming in with the right line, and the weight can be a little bit heavy.
Little heavy.
You can afford that, though, I think, more so than usual. Oh, but
Oh, and they're gonna actually anti-freeze.
that's cut them down to sitting 1, but this is not necessarily setting them well for that takeout that they might have been wanting to do as a backup later on.
Definitely, Brian.
Well, I think the back end for Michigan Tech are sussing out the situation. Yale back end as well, currently in conference with one another. And off goes the Yale skip. Not immediately sure what that brim is trying to accomplish. Do they want the raise? Is that what that brim is for?
I think they're just gonna go for the short run. I mean, you can call that a run back. I don't really know.
Yeah,
Just remove the red. That's all they want. I mean, they have a huge lead. They want to keep it clean, keep the red out.
Yeah.
Pretty straightforward thought process here.
Yeah. I don't think that might have been the proper brim to give. I mean, that's a bit of a risky thing to do.
No, I
with
think
it.
it's all right.
You think it's all right?
No, yeah, you just come with the
Okay, that's
easy normal or a
you get it.
control weight.
And well, that's that doesn't change the situation, I think, at all. UNL is still sitting 3 right now. I don't believe they have any remaining rocks, so that might be the conclusion of the 6th end on sheet 1. That would be a 4-ender for UNL. That brings them from 10 to 14. That's a lap.
A 4-point steal,
A 4-point steal, it would appear so.
and as they enter the 7th.
Well, let's turn our attention now to sheets 2 and 3. That's the matchups between RPI and Michigan Tech and Toledo and MIT, respectively. Again, the situation has not changed very much on sheet 2. It's still sitting yellow, but on sheet 3, we do have a conclusion to the 6th end. That was a 1-ender for MIT. That was just looked to have been a steal from MIT for 1. In the 6th end, the score is now 5-3 MIT over Toledo, but Toledo will have hammer going into the 7th. The sweepers from RPI coming in. Nice and easy does it, but it might be a little bit down weight. Make it past the hog, but I'm not sure if it's going to make it to the house. It'll stop well short of the house. That's a 2 guard. Not exactly what they wanted, and certainly that will give yet another. And we have handshakes from Michigan Tech and RPI.
What was the final score?
The final score now was 2 points yellow in the 6th end for Michigan Tech. The final score is 7-2. Michigan Tech over RPI. This concludes
No, they
7-2 on our. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
They lapped.
Oh no.
it's
No. Well, okay. I believe the official might have hung the score up incorrectly. That should have been 13-2 because there was a lap.
14-2. They were at 11.
Yeah. No, they had 2 yellows there.
They scored 2.
Yeah. So 13-2 should have been the final score. We had best bring that to the attention of the on-ice officials. Actually. Well, it's fine.
C'est la vie.
C'est la vie. Nelson just is fluent in French. A polyglot. Indeed. So that is the final score between RPI and Michigan Tech. That is 13-2 RPI to Michigan. We have 3 sheets left and a lot more excitement, which we look forward to bringing to you folks at home.
We are in the 7th on sheets 1 and 3, and on the 6th on sheet 4. So, Brian, let's take a look at what that means for the pool.
Absolutely, please.
So, if Michigan Tech ascends to 3-0, they go undefeated in pool play. Very strong team.
Good for them.
RPI will be at 1 and 2. Now, on sheet 1, we do have what is looking to be a Nebraska win. They currently have an 8-point lead over Yale. And I believe a strong position in the house. So if we conjecture as much as to say that Nebraska will take that game, then it will be a Then it will be from Pool 1, Michigan Tech and University of Nebraska Lincoln making it to the playoffs from Pool A. As we turn our attention to the other games, we have. Well, we'll hang out here for a little bit. Just see. Don't want to make a premature call, of course.
Not much going on over there, though. The house is pretty empty. There's a biter from Yale sitting over there out there, but they got to work on that one. And they're going furiously, but it does look like that might be short. Hard to tell from this angle, but that is my prediction. Indeed, a job well done from Michigan Tech. Wow, that was certainly a blowout.
Love to have the opportunity to play that.
Do we?
Yes, we do, Brian. We want good curling games.
Yes, that's good for them, maybe. But certainly, and I mean, the Midwest teams have really shown their domination over the course of this weekend. I think a lot of East Coast teams have come in, not having played ever, for example, with University of Nebraska. I've never met them before. Minnesota, we had a chance to meet them last year. Stevens Point, always very strong under the coaching of the Olmsteads. But it really is, I think, a very strong showing for the Midwest this weekend. And well, you know, might be a home court advantage. Certainly, I think next year Nationals will be held on the East Coast, so we'll see where that takes next year's top 16.
Absolutely, and to give all of our viewers a preview of what is to come, at the 3:30 draw, we have on sheet 1 Bowdoin taking on Syracuse. On sheet 2, we have the University of Wisconsin-Madison taking on Arizona State under Andy McDonald. On sheet 3, we have the matchup between Princeton and the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. Both those teams are currently 2-0 in their pool. And we have on sheet 4 the matchup between RIT and Harvard.
I think we'll be expecting some really good games at 3:30, so do stick around. That's right, Nebraska does host the Cornhusker Spiel every year, and that, I believe, served as the... was that the Emerging Region? No, that was the Emerging Regions Regional Championship this year for college curling. The Midwest Championship was held at Kettle Moraine this year.
What happens after this next draw for the fall?
For the following games. And after the next draw, at 6 p.m., there is the Players Banquet, which will be hosted locally in town.
At the Elks Lodge.
At the Elks Lodge. A huge thank you to the Elks Lodge for hosting this event that really gives all the curlers time to enjoy the presence and company of one another. And then after that, we will have the quarterfinals of the USA College Curling National Championships on for you. And that is a double from Pauline from MIT. A strong shot. Definitely the kind of thing they're after right now to maintain the lead that they have created.
Well, let's go now to the near side now. I believe this is N6, I believe, or
0.
N6 should be for the matchup on sheet 4 between Minnesota and Penn State. We'll take a look there and see what's going on. Okay. Wow. All right.
An interesting house
That's
for sure.
wow. That's funny looking
Penn State is going to need a bundle here, and
fast.
fast too. There are those 3 Minnesota rocks. Minnesota, I'll remind you, is playing the Red Rocks in the back of the house. Penn State will need everything they can get. They will probably, if they want a large end, have to remove those rocks. Don't know what the tactics are to do that, but if they're going to want a big end, they will have to make that happen. We are in 7.
And 7.
No, sorry, we're still in 6.
And 6 for them. 7 on the others. To all of you watching at home, we invite you to contribute to the conversation in the YouTube live chat. We're certainly very excited to be engaging with you. We've met some old friends and some new ones, and there'll be a fresh crop of commentators coming in to tell you all about what's going on at 3:30. Okay.
It's another rock in the house, and that is good for Penn State right now. They will still need to figure out a way to get those red rocks out. They may have just there was a triple available for them before. I think that triple has since gone with the slight displacement of that middle red rock. They'll have to get creative to have a shot at a big end. On sheet 3, we still have a pretty conservative end taking place.
That's the one everybody's watching over there in the warm room.
Exactly.
Okay, and Yellow Rock is coming in. So it looks as though they successfully had removed a Yellow Rock, or moved, not maybe removed, but moved it. But the red shooter from the last earlier is nowhere to be seen. Oh, they're going to nick it on the side and just dump that out, it looks like. Sure, if they're particularly keen on keeping their shooter, I might. Okay, well, here comes a rock from MIT. Is it gonna? Oh boy, that might actually get rid of. Okay, that doesn't. That didn't harm them tremendously, but it did get rid of a rock that was better positioned before this one came in.
No, and Toledo is just going to want to split the house here. I don't
Absolutely.
think there's much else
No,
to
not
do.
at all. Toledo is calling a timeout, it would seem.
Not entirely sure why. I think the procedure here is pretty straightforward. Maybe they just want to take a little extra time to think through, the exact tactics. But they're gonna want to ensure that this goes off pretty smoothly.
Thank you, Programmer Man, for that kind compliment of yours. Indeed, we take great pride in bringing you end-to-end coverage. Get it?
That's a good one, right? That's a good one.
Well, once again, joining you from the commentators box, my name is Brian Lee. I'm with the Princeton University curling team, along with
Nelson Rogers, also with Princeton. We'd like to extend a warm thank you to Maxine's Diner, where we ate brunch today. It was a phenomenal brunch.
very good, very good.
Fantastic service, fantastic food, great company. A 10 out of 10 experience.
Also, Norska Nook, where we had some pie yesterday. That was a John Schuster recommendation.
Absolutely, as well as the Lehman's Supper Club.
Yeah, Lehman's Supper Club.
A fantastic meal. Great service again. A staff that is just so kind.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to see that small businesses are thriving out here. Although I do understand that there was a class yesterday who thought we were talking about the pie too much.
Yes.
All right, well, Red Rock is incoming from University of Nebraska. It looks like as though they still only have one in the house. That's just have to settle as a center line guard. Not that they need a giant end right now. I mean, they're pulling ahead quite nicely.
Absolutely. Given this is the 7th end, it's a strong
Yale
commanding
is
lead.
yes. I mean, Yale is sort of. We might be looking at at mathematical elimination shortly. Well, we'll head on over to some of the sheets on the other side of the ice. Looks like Toledo is still very much in conference with each other. Let's see what's going on over on sheet 4, shall we? And excuse me 1 minute while the camera pans over.
And it looks like we do have a result for you. That is going to be 1 point for. Why would you do that, Brian?
Where do you want it? Oh, okay. Well, we are. Let's go back to sheet 1 then. Looks as though Toledo.
Sheet 4.
Sheet 4 is.
There's a result.
Sheet 4 is right. Okay, the score on sheet 4 right now is 8-3 in favor of Minnesota. They will have it will be Minnesota, however, who has Hammer going into the 7th end. They need to move quickly. They have a 5-point deficit. This is not the game has not necessarily developed in their favor. However, they're not by any way locked out. I think if they really stick it to it, I think they could manage. But 5 and 2 ends, that's a pretty tall order when you're going up with a team like Minnesota. Well, it looks like sheets 3 and 4 are back in action. 1 and 3 are back in action after that timeout called by Toledo. Another Red Rock coming in from Nebraska. We'll take a look at what's going over on sheet 3 now between the MIT and Toledo draw. And a Red Rock coming in. And settling on the...
Unclear whether or not it is second shot. They're going to want to really make sure that it is second shot.
And MIT now. Well, they want to get rid of that really shot block. And hopefully theirs will be able to cooperate. Take a look at sheet 1 now.
Just want to know what happened in 6th.
On sheet 1 on the 6th end, the score is not immediately apparent. But
Oh,
it looks
there
like
it is.
there was a 4-ender, so that the score is now 14-6. The Yale is trailing by 8, and with the last rock coming in now, we'll be back momentarily as to what that goes. And wow, we caught it just in time, a takeout, but the shooter will not stay around. That's an exciting game on sheet 3. I think for this series of draws, that's the one to watch.
Exactly, and
And it looks like Toledo wants to get rid of that Red Rock and have him join in the corner there. Bearing in mind, actually, in the 7th end, they do have the advantage of Hammer, so they can afford to get rid of it now and have it roll a little bit off center. And 2 Red Rocks from Minnesota in the house on sheet 4. We'll take a look at the final situation over here on sheet 1. They might be wrapping up. They might not necessarily be finished just yet. And it looks like they finished with a 1-ender for Nebraska. Yale has... It would appear as though the game is finished on sheet 1, leaving now only sheets 3 and 4 in action. The final score after 7 ends on sheet 1 between Nebraska and Yale is 15-6. Good curling to those both teams. So this will, if we want to take a look at the standings, this will leave Nebraska with a 2-1 final record and an 0-3 record for Yale. So it looks like Yale will be going to the B bracket quarterfinals. That will be held. That'll be the consolation bracket. That will be held, I believe, tomorrow morning. I'm not immediately sure if we will be having commentating coverage for that, but hopefully we will. Meanwhile, Nebraska's position is currently, as we discussed earlier, uncertain. I think it's going to have to come down to the LSDs. And the final situation over. Wow, okay, this is interesting. MIT and Toledo are now tied 5-5 on sheet 3, with MIT going into end 8 with Hammer.
this will be the focus of our broadcast now.
Yes.
So don't be discouraged by. Don't think that we're going to pay too much attention elsewhere, because the game on sheet 4 is
It's about to get heated.
looking
Wow.
relatively decided. Penn State was
Okay.
it's phenomenal. shot.
Well done.
Really great keeping those guards out.
Well, that will now leave Minnesota with 2 in the house right now. They need to, over the course of this end and the next, Penn State will need to recover 5 points to tie. And Tommy Lentz with that, you can see a spam hat of his Minnesota specialty in those gopher pants. Well, curl's as good as his taste in fashion is. But let's take a look at what Penn State has right now. Again, Penn State also interesting that I believe they follow the Midwest Handle Convention. And it's going to come in, but will it jam on the guard? No, it won't, but it might actually do an inadvertent raise on Minnesota's red, and that's what will happen. hasn't changed the situation again. We'll get back to that momentarily, but more so, I want to really get a load of what's going on sheet 3, because that's going to be quite the spectacle for us, and we're very excited that we're bringing it to you here and live.
So just for our viewership out there, because we don't have the nice graphics that the networks do, the current score is 5-5, and it is MIT with Hammer as we play the 8th here at Draw 4 of the USA College Curling National Championship.
MIT, I think, Toledo having gone for a centerline guard, settling for one that's just a little bit off center, will still do just fine. MIT now going for a draw behind. And there they go. Right. Apologies, the scoreboard at the top is back for our featured game. And that will bite.
And just to take a look at what's going on this sheet in terms of the pool, if on sheet 4 we have a University of Minnesota victory, assuming that, just so we can play out the situations here. That would mean that a MIT loss, an MIT win will assure them a spot in the playoffs regardless of any other outcomes. If we have a victory here for Toledo, Toledo is actually going to need, this is a must-win game for Toledo if they want to make it into the A, because a win from Toledo here, assuming a win from Minnesota on sheet 4, would create a 3-way 2-1 tie between the teams in Pool B, which of course then we would go to the last shot draw to determine seeding.
Well, Toledo, I think we were trying to wick off that biter there, but they came across, or perhaps they were trying to go for just a more substantial draw behind, but it came in a little bit heavy, but there's still shots sitting about 7:30 right now. In comes a rock from MIT. I think they're trying to go for that Goldilocks shot. Not too heavy and not too light. Line's coming in good. It's a little bit on the wide side, and it'll stop short, unfortunately.
They would have loved to get that a bit further.
Oh boy, would they. Well, Toledo now is going to go for, if I was them, I'd guard.
Toledo needs to get one in here, and they need to do it soon. They do not have Hammer, which means
I don't think
must steal situation.
I don't think this is the time for a guard.
No, they need. I mean, they have those two in the center there.
Yeah.
A rock in the top 4 foot would be that's what they're after right now. Definitely.
I hope so, because he seemed like he was signaling for the guard, and at least doesn't seem like guard weight to me.
No, it's definitely a bit more, and looks like to be a bit heavy for the draw.
Yes, it might sit atop that one in the back, which is not the end of the world, but
shrinks the scoring area, but does leave some backing for MIT.
So we're sort of out of the 4. We're full 8 now. Now they're going to go for the heel. MIT is going to try to get rid of both of them if they can help it. This should be a fun shot if they make it. We'll see how that turns out. Hopefully the shooter sticks around. Oh, it looks like they're narrow.
For MIT, appeal is not bad here.
No.
Let's remember that they have Hammer. Keeping it open is definitely their objective.
Well, in the meantime, the Nolan Mattis makes up his mind. We're going to go take a look at sheet 4 just to make sure we haven't gotten lost in the sauce. And Minnesota. Wow. Okay, that's a lot of
sitting a lot.
Yeah. Well, they don't need to get that in, but they're certainly sitting 1, 2, 3. Looks like 4 right now. Wow. Yeah, this is a tough shot for Joey Martirano. Well, we'll go back to while that's going on. We'll see what the developments on sheet 3 are right now. For all of you who have stuck around, thank you very much to our 64 viewers. I think you're in for a real treat this end with the final end of MIT versus Toledo, tied up 5-5. And in comes the rock. The line's looking pretty good. Well, might be a hair narrow. It's going to wick it, I think. Okay, that gets rid of one of them, but not both. Not both. Nolan Mattis from Toledo has got to get something that counts. I don't think. Why would he? I don't think he needs to guard that. What do you, Nelson? He's looking for like a 3 guard on the center line.
Yeah, I like it.
The 3 guard.
Yeah, they need to hide behind something, and
Sure.
I'm wondering how many rocks they have left. It looks like they have.
You got several.
I think we're in. I think this is the first vice rock.
Okay.
They still have time to put up guards to hide behind, and they have that rock. They're shot. Lest we forget. They have shot. They have that raisable rock.
That's true.
Depending on where this is, they also may still have to draw.
Oh, you know, I forgot that Toledo's red.
That will do it.
Okay, well here comes Toledo with that rock. It needs to move a little bit. But that's good.
That's
fine.
good.
That's fine.
That's good.
That's adequate. Okay.
If I'm MIT, I'm peeling this.
Yeah.
Don't want to go. Going to get fancy with it.
Well, looks like they're going to go for one more over on sheet. Some more rocks being thrown on sheet 4.
And it appears like that a timeout
Yeah, maybe a
is
technical
being
issue.
called.
In play here.
Oh, it's no. I believe.
no, maybe
I
it's
believe
a
just
shot timeout.
And while the timeout is going, we'll take a look at the far end of sheet 4.
Mm-hmm.
Where we have. It
okay.
appears that Minnesota is still. Still shot.
Yeah, still shot. Definitely one. Maybe not 2 or 3.
And
But that's that blocks off any draw possibility that they had originally.
It's from people from Switzerland.
Oh, really? We have an international.
Somebody told me.
Wow.
Yeah.
We would like to extend a warm welcome to all of our viewers from around the world.
Yes.
In Sweden, the answer.
Oh, Sweden. Well, I think Merita. I think if you're still around, we appreciate you staying with us and watching us this morning. Great to know that we have from folks all over.
Yes, last year I was watching the College Curling National Championships from Antibes, France.
Wow. Okay, that's got to stay. That's got to stick around, but
It will go heavy. It will. Oh well, it digs in. It digs in, but it's just too late.
I think that's still not going to be good enough for them.
All right, and
Okay.
we'll zoom back out. I
Yes,
think
I
to
think we'll take a look at the technical timeout. Or not the technical, but the coaching timeout should have come to an end by now. Let's see.
And we
we're
have-
back in action.
Declan Gala holding the broom for the peel. This see Brian. I
Yeah, they got to do the peel.
had to play it like that.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, it's coming down. That should be Vice Pauly Harrington's second rock, I believe.
And they
Okay.
don't want to stay. Don't want to leave. Do not want to leave it there. Do
No.
not want to leave anything
Let
there.
it roll.
Oh. Well,
It's all right. It's all right.
we have applause coming from the warm room, but I don't think that's the result they wanted. Because it's exactly what Nolan Mattis is pointing out now.
Just get into the quote.
You
That's
can
not a hard
still,
ask.
yeah. The task there really was to remove the guard, and we didn't quite accomplish that. Though it makes it that much easier that the rock in the back is out.
Boy, I wish we could annotate the screen like they do at the Briar.
I know. Wouldn't that just be dandy? There we go.
No, this is a pretty deluxe broadcasting setup we have, courtesy of OBS, and brought to you by Sam Fuch, and I believe the
Well, actually, Mosaic.
Mosaic.
Thank you, Mosaic, and specifically Matt from Mosaic for getting this camera set up.
Yes, thank you to Matt from Mosaic. I believe that's a regional broadcasting company in the television ISP. Sorry, in ISP in the Wisconsin area. I haven't heard of it out in New Jersey at all, but they've done an excellent job, and we tip our hats to them for making this all possible.
Absolutely. We have Skip, Declan Galo coming again with the
Ooh,
peel.
That's yeah. That rock I think just came up short, didn't it?
Just short. The line was great, but just not enough weight to get there. They
No.
would have loved to get behind.
That's for sure. Okay, yeah, that'll do.
Here it comes.
Here it comes. Well, it needs to move away though. Okay, that port's still there.
Better, but does leave the opportunity still to draw behind cover, and you
Absolutely.
really can go either way now.
Yes,
probably
absolutely.
want to go the way the intern, as it's
Yeah,
called.
looks to me as though that
And
would
this will be
sensible.
Skip Nolan
That is
Mattis'
his
first
rock.
without hammer.
Yes, in conference with his vice now. Well, they work that out. It looks like as though it's a sensible, easy draw for them there. On sheet 4, the score was a one-ender from a steal, I believe, from Minnesota over there. Or no, it was a force.
They have
Force
hammer.
yeah, it was a force from Penn State. The score is now 9-3.
And stay with hammer in the end.
Penn State has hammer, but they need to get a 6-ender in order just to tie.
Mathematical elimination on the horizon.
Very much so. Well, let's take a look just to see if how close that might possibly be. Well, it looks like just one rock's been thrown right now from, I believe, Penn State. There's a second one that's, I think it's just going to sail right past, isn't it? That's a sorry, from Minnesota.
Let's get back over to it.
Yeah. Okay, well, here comes a rock from Nolan Mattis. The vice is in position, having given room and handle. Rock will be appearing from the upper left side of the screen momentarily. Nolan Mattis
In the hat.
righting himself,
The hush falls over the crowd.
and out he goes. Skip of the Rockets coming down the ice now with what looks to be very satisfactory line.
How's the weight? Maybe a
No,
hair
it needs it.
Oh, they're
They
gonna
gotta go.
high pressure shot.
Oh, they gotta go.
They have got to go. They have
Oh,
got
they're
to
gonna.
get this
Oh,
full of the
goodness.
8 foot. They can do it.
They gotta go.
They've got to go. Oh, will they
gotta
get
go.
there?
Oh boy. Oh, so close.
So close. They will
So
have
close.
one more rock still. We'll see.
Yes.
Still, we have 2 more rocks from yellow and 1 more from red.
Oh, geez. Wow. Okay. Looks as though they're going to go for the takeout there, huh?
Yeah, pretty sensible. It looks
Looks as though yellow's shot from here.
Yeah, it's definitely yellow.
Folks at home, let us know. Yeah, Jill Fuchs says, yeah, they're shot. Thank you very much, Kim Craven. We're very pleased to be with. I take it that you might be related to Danielle. It's very nice to always. It's a pleasure to be curling with her. Wow. Okay. Well, that's we got to get rid of it. That's for sure. Getting in the hack now with MIT Skip Declan Galo. I believe this is the first of his 2 skips rocks. And here he comes. It's got the weight, but do I have the line? Line will be sufficient. Wicket, bam.
well played.
And away it goes. Nolan Mattis, without hammer, the pressure's on for his last shot. He has got to get this right. He's got to get this right. He needs to do 2 things. He needs to make sure that it makes a tough draw for MIT. And
More importantly,
he's got to make sure that they're not going to be able to take it out like they just did.
why not just their shot in the first place?
Oh, yeah.
Right. I mean, if Toledo is not half in the 8 foot, then
Yeah. They got to do... Yeah, well, they got to do at least half in the 8 foot here.
I don't
I don't
quite
know if
agree
that...
with this.
I don't think that's the right broom to give. They're coming in from the far side?
Well, I think they're playing to here.
Yeah, well, they wanted on the left side, but I'm not sure if that's the. Well, we'll see how this plays out. Obviously, they're Skip, their back end knows each other much better than we know them. But James Dumb, a Penn State second, off in the background there, getting ready to throw what appears to be the first of his 2 rocks.
But more importantly, here on sheet 3, we have Nolan Mattis with the final draw. Needs to be
Coming,
shot.
Needs to make it.
Looks to be wide at the moment. Looks to be a bit wide.
Gotta come back.
Will it curl? Okay, it's coming back.
Gotta
coming
come back. The weight should be.
We hear it
weight-
curl in the warm room.
goodness.
Oh, here they go.
Oh,
They have to go.
They gotta go.
They have to go full engagement.
There you go.
deep. They have to go deep.
Bury it.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Wow.
Stellar shot.
And a round of applause in the war room. Wow. Folks at home, I hope you saw that.
Super high
Wow.
pressure shot.
Wow.
Super high pressure.
Beautifully
Phenomenal
executed. Beautifully
piece by Nolan
executed.
Mattis.
Wow.
And it's not over yet.
It's not over yet.
No. There's
Declan
more.
Galo will have to throw the pick.
Oh, but wait, there's more.
The route.
I don't know how much of that he can see.
He'll have to. Well,
True.
who knows?
Oh,
Unfortunately, we're not going to try and ascertain whether or not that is
We'll just-
visible because I'm sure there's a crowd of people in the war room
Oh,
hovering
boy.
over this game now. But
Good
what a shot!
gracious
Oh my
me.
goodness!
Wow. And the commotion is still going on. Obviously, that was wow. I mean, if that was a game-winning shot, they deserve it.
Yeah, that's a high pressure piece there.
Wow. Now the pressure's on. This is down to the last rock, ladies and gentlemen.
Here we go. We're listening.
All right,
The
folks.
warm room is boisterous. The people are excited. Skip Declan Galo is in the hack.
Will this be the throw of the weekend
Yes.
so far?
Down he goes, lining himself up with Polly Harrington's broom.
Hush falls over the warm room.
And in it comes.
He's out of the hack. He's coming.
The line looks.
They're on.
all
They're on.
right.
They're off it. They're off it. Looks to be wide.
Looks
Here it
good.
comes.
It's got to
Sweeping for the
send
curl.
it back. Send it back.
Sweeping for a curl. Sweeping for
Oh
a
my
curl.
God! Send it back.
And
Wow! My goodness!
set up by a beautiful shot.
That is folks. That is the conclusion of the game on sheet 3 between Toledo and MIT. Toledo edges them out 6-5
game.
with the shot of the weekend by Nolan Mattis. Wow!
Beautiful draw.
Wow! All right.
Brian, that is superb.
My goodness,
curling.
I'm glad. Well, I'm glad I was able to commentate that, introducing the folks at home. I'm sorry I couldn't see it through the warm room windows myself, but boy, people are going to be talking about that at dinner.
Yeah, a wonderful shot.
Wow.
I
And
do have
in
to
comes-
say- oh wait, no, we got the other
We
one.
got another a few more rocks coming from Oliver Lee of the University of Minnesota.
Looks to be just a peel, and it will
They will dump,
remove the guard.
remove the guard. Yes, Penn State's currently sitting one, but that will not suffice for them. We have handshakes, it would appear.
We have handshakes on sheet 4.
It looks as though we have handshakes. The final score on sheet 4 at the end of, with actually a few stones left, but right now we have one rock shot.
I believe that is mathematical elimination. That's why they're packing up.
is
So
mathematical.
to all of our viewers,
Wow.
quick recap of this draw. We have MIT, the University of Minnesota, Toledo, all tied at 2-1. Penn State at 0-3. There is a 3-way tie, which means that it will come down.